Hello everyone, my name is Rudo Chifamba and welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk all things projects. Now the focus of today's video is going to be on how you can bring your project back on track should it veer off track for any reason. Now you'd ask, why would that be topical? Why should we talk about projects going off track and needing to be brought back on track again? Why would they have gone off track in the first place? And the reason for that is that things are going to go wrong on projects. You can almost always count on that. It's a reality of projects. In an ideal world, in an ideal setting, in utopia, you would set your project plans, estimates, forecasts, and then you would start executing on those plans, estimates, and forecasts. And if you follow everything to a T, then your project should just flow and you wouldn't have any derailment. However, the plans, forecasts, and estimates themselves are inherently imperfect. We make these projections based on assumptions, based on known fact, based on best guesses, based on best practices. We have some blind spots when we make those estimates. Human intuition, gut feel, and sometimes egos participate in the making of those projections, and this ultimately inherently makes these estimates inaccurate. And that in itself is not a bad thing. It's just the reality. We don't hold crystal balls that tell us what the future looks like. However, what that means is that we're going to be blindsided by problems hitting our project at one point or another. We're going to hit speed bumps where we might have projected some risks around the project, but we didn't really quite know the magnitude of what those risks, what the impact of those risks would look like. We might not know when the actual timing or the time is that those risks will impact the project. So it helps to then have in our back pocket a methodology or a plan about how to get the project back on track when it hits the inevitable. Now, I'm going to be sharing a cheat sheet with you all, 10 tips on how to bring the project back on track should it hit some turbulence. But before we do that, I want to share not a fun fact, an unfun fact really, is if you look in the project space over time, there have been a myriad of statistics on the percentage of projects that fail. And in the software space, the Standish group at one point in their chaos report was projecting that up to 80% of software projects ultimately fail. So things really do go wrong in a big way. However, today I'm not focusing on the doomsday type scenario where a project ultimately fails, because thankfully projects actually do succeed. I want to focus on those scenarios where you hit speed bumps, big or small, where you still have the opportunity to refocus your project back to success. So here it is, guys, the cheat sheet, 10 tips. First of all, you want to keep calm and help everybody around you to keep calm. Now, a panicky project manager is of not much use to the project, and neither is a panicky team. So stay clear-headed, help everybody around you to stay calm and collected, and your project has got much better chances of success. Do not run away from the problem. The human tendency when problems hit is you go into denialistic mode, you want to minimize the problem, you might even want to postpone reacting to the problem itself. But neither one of those, not a single one of those reactions is helpful. you want to engage with the problem, move towards it. The problem is not going to go away on its own just because you do not want to engage with it. And the sooner you engage with it, the better your chances are to understand the problem space and therefore course correct. Do not keep the project or problem, do not keep the problem. Now, mixing up projects and problems. Do not keep the problem under wraps. You want to communicate to your stakeholder community as soon as you know. As soon as you know, let everybody know. And you do not even have to have all the information about the problem, but just letting people know that this is what we've encountered and this is what we're going to go away and start doing in order to understand the problem more is in itself a game changer. No one wants to be blindsided to find out that there's a problem in the project space a long time after it has surfaced. And you want to immediately start evaluating options to resolve the problem and come up with a plan. And then whilst you're doing all this good investigative stuff in the background, do not stop communicating. You want to keep your stakeholders abreast of what is going on at every stage. Material updates, of course, you don't want to over communicate, but sometimes, there's this saying that there's no such thing as over communicating. So communicate, communicate, communicate. And this one is a really big one, guys. Do not lay blame. It is okay to hold team members accountable for what it is that they need to do in order to bring the project back on track, but laying blame is the darker cousin of holding people accountable. You already have a stressed out team, and then when you layer blame on that just derails the project even further. So stay away from laying blame. Focus on accountability and holding people accountable to their responsibilities. And you want to keep the team upbeat. Like I said, everybody is stressed. Everybody wants this project to be successful, but you have hit a hurdle or a big or a small hurdle. So you want to keep the team upbeat. Encourage the team. Keep them focused on solving the problem and not ruminating on the problem itself. And then you want to execute the corrective plan as soon as you can. So you've evaluated your options, you've zeroed in on a plan or a solution that can get you out of that problem. You want to execute on that plan swiftly. And then tip number 9 is, assuming that tip number 8 worked beautifully, you implemented your course correction and it worked, you want to reflect on what you learned. You want to go back and understand the root cause of how that problem came to be. You want to look at the way that you course corrected and whether there's room for improvement should you hit a problem like that in the future. And you want to document the lessons that you learned. One, for the current team that's working on that, but if you're working in an organization, for example, then that goes into the organization's collective history, if I can put it that way, or your collective arsenal for solving problems in the future. And then the last tip number 10, is the easiest of them all, is carry on. You have managed to steer the ship out of choppy waters, and now you can go back to executing according to the plan that you had set up in place. So that is it, guys. 10 tips, which I'm confident that if you implement those in their totality or in any combination, depending on the problem space that you encounter, you should be able to bring your project back on track. And there we have it. That was today's video. And as always, if you liked the video, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you find the content that I share on this channel to be useful and you want to be notified each time I drop a new video, please hit the subscribe button. And thank you. And until next video, do take care. Bye bye.